Good morning, students. Welcome back in your SS class. Students, we have started our second chapter of geography, that is land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife. We have completed three parts of it. Means in the first part, we have discussed about land as a natural resource. Then in the second part, we have discussed soil, and in the third part as a water as a natural resource. Now this is the fourth part of this chapter, and today we will discuss about the natural vegetation and wildlife. This will be the last part of it. So we will consider only these two things, that natural vegetation and wildlife. So first of all, let's think about what do you think about natural vegetation and what do you think about wildlife. First of all, we have, you can say, the definition of it. Now, my dear student, if we think about the natural vegetation, the plant community, and you can see the plants which have grown naturally without human help and intervention, they are considered the natural vegetation. Means whatever the plants we have around us, if they are grown in a natural manner, they are considered natural vegetation. But my dear student, we have a, you can say, less part in our atmosphere, and you can say in our earth surface, which we have natural vegetation. Only the areas where human being can't go and can't reach, and there is a vegetation, there are plants. We can consider only those plants natural vegetation. But in the recent phenomena, we have considered all the plants and whatever the things as a natural vegetation. Now come to the next point, wildlife. If we think about wildlife, the different kinds of the animal, the different kinds of animals found in a particular area, that is considered the wildlife, you can say. So if we think about natural vegetation, it's a plant community, and if you think about the wildlife, it's a, you can say, animal community. So these are you can say, natural vegetation and wildlife. And my dear students, we have already told you about in the earlier classes that we have used another word of these two things, like flora and fauna. If you have flora, it means all type of plants. If we have fauna, it means all type of animals. This is considered flora and fauna. Means we can say that natural vegetation, but we can say flora also. Okay, the plant community, that is considered flora, and the animal community, that is considered fauna. Okay, my dear students. Now, if we think about the flora and fauna, they exist in a narrow zone of lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. And these two conditions are where we have already discussed in the earlier classes. And this is considered the biosphere, where all these things are available. Right, my dear students? And they all make a ecosystem. ये सारी की सारी चीजें मिलकर एक इकोसिस्टम बनाती हैं. So let's think about what is ecosystem. And this is a very most important thing, because right now you are in 8th standard, but in the 9th standard and 10th standard, we require this, you can say, ecosystem. And whenever you discuss geography, whenever you read, you study about geography, then ecosystem will be there. So it's a very most important point, ecosystem. So let's think about what is ecosystem. All the species of plants and animals in an area, they are interdependent on each other with their physical environment. This is called the ecosystem. Means that all the plants and all the animals which are found in a particular area, they are interdependent with each other, plus with their physical environment. This is considered the ecosystem. I think this concept, and you can say this important term, is clear to all of you. So my dear student, here we have discussed only 2 or 3 things, that the plant community which are found and which are grown naturally without any human interference, this is considered the natural vegetation. But on the other hand, if we think about the animal community, this is considered wildlife. And wildlife, it is known animal species, it's known as fauna. And if we think about the plants community, it is considered flora. Okay, and all these things are found in a particular thing that is called ecosystem. And if we think about ecosystem, it means that all the species of plants, animals in an area, they are interdependent on each other with their physical environment. This is called ecosystem, and this is very most important, you can say, important term for geography purpose, right? Now let's think about another factors, and it's a very most important factors. Maybe these are not in your book, so these are most important things. If we think about India, it has a rich biodiversity. A lot of plants is there, species of plant you can say, a lot of animal species is there also. So if we think of a close look of India, then we have 47,000 species of plants. We are here including 15,000 flowering plant also. Means out of 47, there are 15,000 flowering plants also, but total plant species, there are 47,000 species. If we think about animal species, near about 90,000. Sometimes we get that this figure 89%, 89,000, but near about, I said near about 90,000 species of the animal, type of species of animal found in India. If we think about the fishes, near about 2546, it means 2546 species जो हैं वो हमारे इंडिया के अंदर मिलती हैं, and they are the fresh water fish and marine water fish, both kind of fishes. And if we think about the bird species, 2000 bird species are found in India. This is the India, and you can say Indian biodiversity. So India has a great of biodiversity. Right, my dear student, and this is very most important figure, and you can say most important data. You must know about it. I think so. This may be not in your book, but you must have the knowledge about it. Now, my dear student, we will come to next topic. What is the importance of plants and why plants are important for us? So, if we think about plants, they are important for us in a very great manner. The first most important thing, we get from it timber, you can say wood, and we can use it in a different purpose. Like if we want to make furniture, so we require good type of timber. So if we think about plants, if we think about the trees, they provide us timber for the different purposes, right? Next thing, these plants give shelter to different type of animals. This is the, you can say, natural habitat of the animals. If we think about forest area, this is the natural habitat of the animals. They want to live there in a free manner. So plants give shelter to the different type of animal also. Next most important thing, they produce oxygen. They produce oxygen. And right now in Delhi, there is a lack of oxygen. So you think about it, how important oxygen is for us, and how important the trees are for us, because they produce oxygen. Now, next thing about it, protect soil from the soil erosion. This is the most important thing, because the roots of the soil, the roots of the plants, they attract and they वो उनको क्या करती है, जकड़ के रखती है. That's why it reduces the possibility of the soil erosion. Next thing, plants provide us fruits, nuts, latex, gum, etc. They also provide us medicine also, and even the page on which you are at the time you have a book. Right now you have a book, and it is made up of, you can say, different pages, and this page is made up of these, you can say this paper is made up of these plants. So these are the students. Now come to the wildlife. Now if it's insect, aquatic life also, it's all these things we required. Now if we think about animals, these animals are important for us for many purposes. Like we get milk from animals, meat, hide and wool. So these are the things which are provided by the animals. And there are many insects like honeybee and your bee. It provides honey for us. and there are many insects which are helpful in the pollination of the flower also, and there are many other important things they play, and so they play as a decomposer to create the balance of the ecosystem. So these insects are also helpful for us. Okay, and there are some birds who feeds on insect and they are also act as a decomposer. If we think about vulture, think about the vulture. It has the ability to feed on the dead livestock. It means it is working as a scavenger, and it plays an important role in the maintenance of the balance of the ecosystem. So student, these wildlife and you can say these species of the animals, these are very important for us. Now come to the next important point, the distribution of the natural vegetation, and it is very most important thing. If we think about the distribution of the vegetation, it is not an even manner. Reason is that because it depends on the temperature, on the moisture, so that's why it is unevenly distributed. There are many places where we have a lot of flora and fauna, and you can see all these things. But there is some part area also that is totally deserted. And if we think about the area, this there are many places there is a dense forest, and there are many places where there is a grassland is also there. So if we think about the vegetation, the natural vegetation, it depends on the temperature and moisture. So these are unevenly distributed. Okay. If we think about the vegetation types, these are found in the forest type, grassland, scrub, and tundra vegetation. Tundra, it means the vegetation which are found in the cold areas. That is called tundra vegetation. So if we think about the types of vegetation, we have forest, dense forest are also there. We have some grassland, you can say, where there is a less rainfall is there. So that is considered grassland. We have scrub and tundra vegetation also. Now, if we think about the forest area, where there is a heavy rainfall, in those area forests are found. अगर हम बात करते हैं forest की, तो जहां पर heavy rainfall होती है, in those areas we have forest areas. And if we think about there is a moderate rainfall and there is an average rainfall, so these forest area is going to disappear, and there is a very you can say little bit trees and grasslands are found there also. And if we think about the low rainfall areas, very low rainfall areas, there is a thorny shrubs and scrub also found, which have deep roots, thorny leaves, waxy surface, which reduce the loss of moisture. अब deep root होने की वजह से वो अंदर से moisture लेती हैं, waxy leaf होने की वजह से evaporation जो होता है वो रुकता है. Okay, so these are found in the low rainfall areas, like desert के area के अंदर मिलती है. If we think about the tundra vegetation, means vegetation which are found in the areas of the, you can say, cold areas. These are considered the tundra vegetation. So these are the types of the natural vegetation. And if we think about the distribution of this natural vegetation, it totally depends on the temperature and moisture. It means the atmospheric condition and the type of, you can say, a soil also. So that's why these are unevenly distributed. And my dear student, listen one thing very carefully. Which type of vegetation is there, it always, you can say, have impact on wildlife also, the nature of wildlife, you can say. Let's think about the classification of the forest. If you think about the classification of the forest, in your book, you have two types of classification of the forest. The first one is the evergreen forest, and the second one is the deciduous forest. And these two parts are depend on the shedding of leaves. ये जो evergreen forest और deciduous forest बनाए गए हैं, ये जो डिपेंड करते हैं हमारे पत्ते झड़ने की जो क्षमता होती है उसके आधार पे कहते हैं. If we think about the evergreen forest, now my dear student, in evergreen forest, बड़े ध्यान से सुनना, यहाँ पर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात बताने वाला हूँ आपको. If we think about the evergreen forest, they don't shed leaves simultaneously in any season, and always they looks green. That's why these are considered the evergreen forest. Reason is that because in a particular area there are different species, many kind of species are found in a particular area, in a single one area, and all species of the plant, they have different time period for shedding their leaf. So one community means one type of species, yeah, one type of vegetation shed their leaf, but another may have the leaf. So that's why if we think about those areas. So here, my students, I want to tell you again, we are going the same thing, that depend on the shedding of leaves. We broadly divide our forest into two parts. The first one is evergreen forest and the second one is the deciduous forest. If we think about the evergreen forest, they are found in the hot and humid climatic condition. And here there are many species, you can say many type of vegetation and trees, they are found in a particular area. And all trees don't have the same time for shedding their leaves. So that's why they always looks green. That's why it is considered the evergreen forest. Now come to the these forests. These are found in India in the western part of the Western Ghat. These type of forests, these are found in India on the western part of the Western Ghat, and you can say Meghalaya region, right? Now come to the deciduous forest. In this type of forest, the species of plants, they are very less. So that's why they shed their leaves in a particular season. Reason is that to conserve loss of moisture, to retain moisture. Okay, so that's why these are considered the deciduous forest. That's why these are considered the deciduous forest. And in our India, most of the, you can say, part of the India, deciduous forests are found. If you think about the evergreen forest, they are found in the western part of the Western Ghat and some part of the Meghalaya. There is a heavy rainfall area. But if we think about the deciduous forest, in maximum part of our India, deciduous forests are found. There are many other kind of forest also, but mostly deciduous forests are found. Now, this is the basic thing, that evergreen forests, they don't shed their leaves simultaneously in any season. But on the other hand, if we think about the deciduous forest, they shed their leaves in a particular season. That's why they are considered the deciduous forest. Now, these two type of forest, if they are found in the tropical region based on the latitude, they are called tropical evergreen and tropical deciduous forest. If they are found in the temperate region, they are considered the temperate evergreen and temperate deciduous forest. For example, equator is on 0 degree, 23.5, it means 30 degree on the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere, you can say. This zone, it is considered the tropical zone. This zone is hot and humid climatic condition area, and 23.5 to 66 degree. This is considered, you can say, the subtropical region. Okay, my dear student. So if we think about the evergreen forest and deciduous forest, they are found in the tropical zone also, and you can say temperate zone also, because it depends on the, you can say, rainfall and temperature, you can say. Okay. Now come to the another things. Let's see. Now, dear students, population is growing rapidly. You can say that the population is growing very rapidly. And if we think about this population, to get the residents, to have the residents for this area, this population, we have to cut the trees, and we have to make some, you can say, residential areas there. And we required food crops also. So we are, you can say, cutting the trees very rapidly. So the forest area, it is going to decrease. But my dear student, we need to conserve vegetation and wildlife, these vegetation and wildlife, because due to this thing, because we are going to deforest again and again in very rapid manner, so it creates an ecological imbalance. We have many problems. These are create, you can say, ecological imbalance. So to maintain the ecological imbalance, we have to need for it. The second thing, loss of natural habitat of plants and animals. This is the most important thing. If we are going to cut plants again and again, it means that the animals, they are losing their natural habitat. So there is a loss of the natural habitat for the, you can say, animals. and these are created due to climatic change, and these are done by the human activities also. And my dear student, due to this ecological imbalance, there are some species in the world, they are at the verge of the extinction. They are at the verge of the extinction. खत्म होने की कगार पे है. So to protect them, we required to maintain this ecological balance. Next thing, there are many other factors like deforestation, soil erosion, constructional activities, forest fire, tsunami, landslides. These are the basic things of that our vegetation is we are losing our vegetation. So we must take care of all these things also, whatever we can do. There is a one important term in your book, that is poaching. It means killing of the animals by illegal manner. Reason is that because we sell the product of these animals in an illegal manner, and that's why there is a sharp decline in the number of animals like tiger, lion, elephant, deer, black buck, crocodile. We have a you can say we have a sharp decline in the number of the animals due to this poaching also, due to this ecological imbalance also. So my dear student, we need to conserve all these vegetation and wildlife. Now here there are some steps which we can use to conserve our natural vegetation and wildlife. You can see that the first one is the steps taken by the government. Our government, Indian government, they have formed a lot of national park and wildlife sanctuary, and you can say biosphere reserve, where there is a condition of the natural habitat is provided to all these things. Right, my dear students. Next thing is we have a need to conserve our creeks, lakes, and wetlands. Means we have to create water bodies. We have to maintain all these water bodies. Next one is, this is most important thing, by banning some human activities like hunting and poaching. It must be banned totally. It must be a punishable offense. Okay, so this is also most important thing. Next most important thing, we have create our awareness. We have to spread awareness, and we must have some awareness programs. By these programs, we can aware the citizen of the country, and we have to start some another program also like social forestry and Van Mahotsav, and it must be at reasonable and community level. And by getting these things and by doing those things, we can aware the people for the importance of the tree, and we can do, you can say, we can plant more and more trees, and this will helpful for the conservation of our natural vegetation. And most important thing, we must pass some law against poaching and other different activities which are creating the harm for our natural habitat, and you can say our natural vegetation and wildlife. We must pass some few law, and the implementation of these law must be very strict. By doing these things, we can, you can say, conserve these our natural vegetation and wildlife. Now, dear student, listen one more thing also. An international convention, CITES. It means the Convention of on International Trade in Endangered Species. It is established to prohibit killing of the different kind of the animals and birds. This is an international agreement between all the governments. And what are the reason of it? Because its main aim to ensure the survival of some endangered species of plants and animals, those who are at the verge of the extinction. तो उनको बचाने के लिए this program has been started. By it is, you can say, an international agreement between all the governments, so that some you can say some animals and birds, the species of the animal and birds, they can be prohibited by killing, right? There are many other factors which our Indian government has taken. That we have biosphere reserve, the number of it 18. We have 89 national park also. If we think about the wildlife sanctuary and geological gardens, we have 490. And we have started other eco development project also, like Project Tiger and Project Rhino. And by doing this, by doing this project, we can protect our tiger and rhinos. We have Wildlife Protection Act, and this was implemented in 1992 in India. And by doing this, you can say our Indian government, they have taken some steps to protect natural vegetation and you can say wildlife. My dear student, note one very important thing: conservation of the plants and animals. This is not the duty only of the government. This is an ethical duty of every citizen. So we have to take part, we have all to take part in it. This is not that you can say duty only of the government. Government is doing very well, but as a citizen, it is our ethical duty to conserve all our plants and animals, because we have to live in this area. We have to live in this, you can say, in this on this earth, and we have to take care of our future generation also. We have to provide such an environment for our future generation so that they can survive here in a very good manner. Never think just only for us, right, my dear students? My dear students, this chapter is over. I hope this chapter is clear to all of you. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.